Mais uma vez, boa tarde a todos, sejam bem-vindos de volta. Retomamos os trabalhos da tarde com o tema Fórum Mundial das Cidades Intermédias da UCLG, recuperar a confiança para fortalecer as cidades intermédias europeias. E para tal, como moderadora deste painel, Firdaus Ossidum, Assistant Secretary General of Monitoring and Evaluation UCLG. Deixo-vos com ela, que fará aqui a introdução necessária ao painel e toda a moderação. Até já.
Obrigada. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. So my name is Firdaus Ossidum. I'm, as it was said, Assistant Secretary General of UCLG, United Cities and Local Governments. And this session will be centered around the intermediary cities in Europe and the democracy. So before making some opening remarks, I would like to call on the stage first Carola Gunnarsson, Vice President of UCLG for Europe. I would like also to call Mehmet Beledzi, Mayor of Ahani I Elezit from Kosovo. I would like to call Anna Johansdottir from Reykjavik, Iceland. This here. And I would like to call Felix Bonn, Head of Participatory Democracy, Cities of Dudelange in Luxembourg. And I would like to call also Gemma Barbara Plana, Director of Housing from Esplugas de Llobregat in Spain. Well, as I was saying earlier, we have heard a fantastic opening session. It was really removing and so important and interesting. And we have understood and we know that democracy is first local. The new context in Europe has been explained by the professor in his keynote speech in the world. But what about Europe in the middle of this whole global picture? Intermediary cities are known by first a number of inhabitants, but in the rest of the world it depends on the region where we are. An intermediary city in China would be for 4 million inhabitants, while in Europe it will be from 20,000 to 1 million, the same in Africa and in Latin America as well. The question of the intermediary cities is more about the function that they generate, the development that they are able to generate into the territories of the countries. In UCLG, we have a forum of intermediary cities whose presidency is the city of Chefchaouen in Morocco. And we are building towards the World Forum of Intermediary Cities that will be held on the 23rd and 24th in Cuenca, Ecuador, 23rd and 24th of January in Cuenca, Ecuador. This World Forum allows those cities that usually do not have their voices listened to and represented at global level to allow them to make them visible and to make them heard in the global arena. What is important today for intermediary cities to note is that the UNFPA has identified the intermediary cities as the next stage for the next development of urbanization, especially in the south of the world, in Africa and in Latin America, while in Europe, countries are talking about degrowth. So this is a key point that will be taken into account into this session. But from Europe and its democracy, Europe and democracy sounds like, up until now, what sounds like the perfect equation. But right now, we have heard this morning the states of the world and the states of Europe. And therefore, I would like to call first the Vice President of UCLG, Carola Gunnarsson, to make the opening remarks. Carola, please.
Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Well, today we are talking about intermediary cities. And I would like to highlight two important aspects which are both grounded in building sustainable, inclusive societies. And we need to discuss both of them and connect them with demographic challenges. We have different demographic challenges in different parts of the world, and it's at the local level we meet the challenges. In Europe, for example, we have an aging population. In other parts of the world, the population is very young. We need to take that knowledge and awareness to the global level and put solidarity and trust in the center of our work. The first aspect is that we need to create a narrative about intermediary cities as important regional hubs for territorially balanced development. Despite the potential and the challenges, global policy attention has often overlooked them, focusing on metropolitan areas, and I think that this represents a missed opportunity. And I must tell you a secret. In every meeting I have attended during the last year, some of the panelists starts by saying that today 55% of the population lives in urban cities or the big cities. And within 2050, it will be 70% living in the urban cities, in the big cities. And at the same time they say this, they leave the rest of the population behind. And I must say that this makes me so very frustrated, because it isn't a law of nature that the urban cities are growing. It's something done by us, the people. The other perspective is how we discuss human mobility. It's often presented as a problem, either in forms of migration or depopulation of rural areas. Human mobility is neither new or reversible phenomenon, and it's constantly shaping our territories. We need to discuss demographic challenges, but we need to focus on solutions and how we can build inclusive societies. We can learn from good integration, not just for migrants, but for building inclusive societies. To meet the challenges of urbanization, we need a holistic approach to our societies. One planet, one habitation. We all share our global challenges, and we are all together the sum of the whole society. The cities and the rural areas must be developed together to be able to meet the possibilities with green transition, new infrastructure, food supply, and development for all. And here the intermediary cities plays a crucial role. It is important that we build societies, either it's rural or urban areas, on a solid ground and strengthen from the ground up. We need to start with people. People can create change for a green, sustainable, inclusive, and democratic society. On the local level, we have an advantage. We are close to the people affected by our decisions. The power to change and act is local, and we need to get people involved in their everyday life. Global agendas and their implementation must be driven by the local and regional levels with adequate means and competencies in line with the principle of subsidiarity. This is why it's particularly important that local and regional governments are key actors in a human-centered multilateral system built on trust, democracy, gender equality, and solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Indeed, the next question would be to say, what is the place and role of intermediary cities into this multilateral governance system? But also we are pushing, especially for the question of the climate policies around the world, for the whole of governance approach. And there also, it relates to the same question of the place and role of intermediary cities. I would like just to recall the fact that this session is a consultation session that will be part of the roadmap that we are building towards the World Forum. And all the results of what is given here as recommendations and suggestions will be brought to the World Forum. We will be opening the debate at the end of the session for everyone that would like to bring their voice added will be welcome. So I would like to invite Mayor Mehmet from Hani Elezit. Mayor Mehmet, how would you see the political trust and the question of the model of development, especially in your country, where a whole dynamic of redeveloping the country had to be set, and how democracy and the local values were able to help in this development?
Thank you very much.
Para kërkoj falje që nuk e flas gjuhën angleze, megjithëse e kuptoj, por nuk mund ta flas.
I'm sorry that I can speak in English.
Sigurisht do të jetë pak e komplikuar, po do të mundohem të paraqes sfidat me të cilat ne ballafaqohem në zhvillimin e demokracisë lokale në komunën të cilën unë vi.
It will be difficult to express the difficulties that we face in a local democracy, but we will try our best.
Falenderues që jam pjesë e këtij paneli. Përshëndetje për ju, moderatore, për ju, kolegë dhe kolege.
I am very thankful to be part of this conference, and the mayor said hi to all the participants.
Faleminderit Suzanës që ka qenë iniciatore për të qenë unë pjesë sot këto në Balongo.
Thank you, Susanna, for being the initial part for me being here today with you.
Unë jam Mehmet Ballazhi, kryetar i komunës të një komune të vogël që quhet Hani Elezit.
My name is Mehmet Ballazhi. I am the mayor of a small municipality called Hani Elezit.
Ndodhet në shtetin më të ri Kosovës.
It is located in the newest country, that's Republic of Kosovo.
Është komunë e vogël e cila në tërsinë gjeografike ka 83 km².
It is a small municipality with 83 kilometers square.
Dhe në regjistrimin e fundit të popullsisë që ka ndodhur para pak muajve ka të regjistruar 8600 banor.
In the last registration of the population of that municipality, the final results are that there are approximately 8,000 inhabitants.
Si rezultat i zgjedhjeve të vitit 2021, kam ardhur si kryetar komune në një përqindje mbi 51% të votuesve.
In the election of the 2021, I have won the elections with over 51% of the votes.
Në temën se çka e shtyn demokracinë të vënë në dyshim bazën e saj të respektimit të ideve dhe diversitetit.
The led democracy to question its basics of respect for ideas and diversity.
Unë mendoj që është besimi politik.
I think that it's the political trust and faith.
E cili do të ketë vullnet e para.
First of all, there should be courage
Dhe guxim
and will
për të rritur shpresën reale për një të ardhme të sigurt për shoqëri.
So there should be will and courage to increase the hope for a safer future for the society.
Për shembull, pavarësisht fitores mbi 51% të votuesve,
For example, regardless of the election won with over 51%,
unë kam anashkaluar këtë drejtë ekskluzive politike
I overlook this exclusivity
për të përzgjedhur ekipin tim nga partia që vi unë, që i takoj unë.
to choose or to select the team with the political determination of the winning party.
Ky besim dhe ky guxim për të zgjedhur një ekip qeverisës që përbëhet prej 9 drejtorive,
This will and this courage to choose a team,
ka qenë që t'i plotësoj disa kriteri për ta zhvilluar demokracinë lokale.
It was to fulfill some of the criteria to build this team.
Përzgjedhja e të rinjve, pra moshës,
One of those criteria is choosing a young team by the age.
pastaj ajo që tek ne në përgjithësi është si praktikë politike,
Some aspects that are political practices.
që zakonisht përzgjedhen ekipi sipas politikave partijake. Unë e kam bërë të kundërtën.
In our country, it's very common to choose the team by the determination of the political winning party, but our mayor did the different thing from the others.
Dhe kam bërë një përzgjedhje të përfaqësuesve politik të partive të tjera,
He chose a team that are from other political parties,
gjithmonë duke patur parasysh edhe përfshirjen gjeografike të komunës,
including here political aspects and
Gjenia.
political and geographical aspects.
Gjenia apo barazia gjinore që unë e kam të kaluar pjesëmarrjen e grave në vendimmarrje,
Gender equality in directories that the mayor has overpassed the gender equality.
që ndoshta nuk është praktik tek ne përzgjedhja e gjinisë femrore, që është vetëm sa një kuotë. Unë kam bërë përtej kuotës që përfshin diku 60% të gjinisë femrore në qeverisjen time lokale.
Involving more women in directories, it's not very common in our countries, but the mayor did that. Not only 50% of the women are director of the directories, but he overpassed. Out of 9 directories, 5 of them are managed by women.
Përveç kësaj ishte shumë e rëndësishme në pikpamjet e mia
It was very important from my point of view.
që pjesë e këtij ekipit të jetë mosha.
It was very important for my point of view, the aspect of young age in the directories.
Mosha e re, për shembull, në këtë rast kam drejtoreshën e administratës publike këtu,
In this case, here with us is the director of general administration.
që kur e kam emëruar si drejtore, I kishte vetëm 21 vjet.
When he proposed that directory to her, she was only 21 years old.
Dhe që është një përgjegjësi jo krejt e vogël në drejtorinë e administratës të ne.
This directory has a lot of responsibilities, difficult responsibilities.
Gjithashtu edhe këtu e kam që po lun në rolin e përkthysës,
And the mayor says also here with him in the role of the translator for me.
është drejtoreshe e buxhetit dhe financave, që është një drejtori shumë e rëndësishme për ta zhvilluar vendin për nga vim.
here with him, it's for me, like I am the director for budget and finances in our municipality. That is one of the most important and difficult directories to develop the objectives of the mayor and the whole community.
Dhe në përgjithësi nga 9 drejtori,
In general, out of 9 directories in our municipality,
kam emëruar 5 drejtoresha.
we have, the mayor has 5 directories that are led or managed by women.
E që kjo nënkupton se femra tek ne deri më tani, ndoshta unë po flas për komunën time, nuk e ka pas vendin e merituar në vendimmarrje.
From his point of view, he did this for his team because it was not very common in our country. Really difficult and important directories to be managed by women.
Thanë shkurt ka qenë një thyrje e tabuve që të ne janë të theksuara.
This was also breaking some stereotypes that was very present in our country.
Kjo ndoshta në fillim është treguar diçka si skeptike nga banorët e komunës.
This was accepted not very well from the inhabitants of our or the citizens in our country.
Sepse praktikat e moshës, gjinisë, profesionit e tjera kanë qenë skepticizëm për ta zhvilluar komunën në aspektin e demokracisë.
They were very skeptic if we will make it through because we were young in age, the gender and the professionalism that are in 9 directories in the municipality.
Këtë e kam bërë duke bazuar në kohën kur unë kam qenë i ri e nuk I kemi pas mundësit për të qenë pjesë e vendimmarrjes.
This was not common when I was young and we couldn't be part of the decision making in the institutional.
Dhe unë besoj që këto janë disa nga kriteret për ta zhvilluar një komunë ose një shoqëri.
I believe that these are some of the criteria for to develop the municipality and the country.
Që në objektivat e mia është arsimi apo edukimi arsimor.
Based on my objectives,
Shëndetësia.
Based on my objectives, my priorities are quality of education, health,
Edhe zhvillimi ekonomik.
and economic development.
Sepse, o mendoj që një shoqëri e edukuar, një shoqëri e shëndosh, mund të zhvilloj vendin ekonomikisht.
Because I believe that an educated and healthy society is better prepared to develop the economy of a country, which enables it to face the challenges of the future.
Kjo është për të besuar në një të ardhme të sigurt për vendin. Faleminderit.
This is for to face the challenges of the future and to create ease, security for the future of the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I keep the diversity of voices and positions in the same team as one of the key things. And beyond that, believing in human capabilities through gender equality and youth, but also in the case of Kosovo, breaking stereotypes to ensure that you are building a resilience, a community resilience in the team and in the municipality. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. From Kosovo, we are going to Iceland. I would like to invite Anna Johannesdottir. I would not like to. Johannesdottir. Almost. Johannesdottir, that is a democracy advisor of the city of Reykjavik, tell us, Anna, how do you see the values and how do you see the needs in Iceland and in your particular example, building growth, development, or maybe degrowth to ensure the survival of democracy? How do you see that?
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to say thank you for inviting me, and I'm very excited to be here among the leaders of democracy, and I look forward to our discussions over the next 2 days. Reykjavik City, where I am a democracy advisor at the Human Rights and Democracy Office, which is pretty special, I would say. We have 140,000 inhabitants in the city, but overall in the metropolitan area there are 230,000 people. But the overall population in Iceland is 400,000 people. So you can see we do not have a large country, and not ours, even though it's a city, it's not very large. In some aspects, you could say that Iceland has a strong liberal democracy, and that we, in a sense, could be fortunate to have our strong democracy. We have a strong, high level of gender equality, freedom of speech, human rights and minorities are protected, gay rights are strong, rule of law is strong, and we have over 80% turnout in parliamentary elections and in presidential elections. But with that said, we see some of the similar problems that you are facing. Even though we are fortunate, we still have to protect our democracy just as everyone else. We see decline in turnout, especially in local elections, where there is a broader right to vote in local elections than in general elections. So, and what we see is when we look at who is not participating in these elections, it's the young people and it is immigrants. Also, we see older people not participating as much. So there is lack of trust in our infrastructure. The institutions is declining. We have disengagement. We have information disorder. So there is a hate speech. We see that as well, and we are aware of all of these things and are working on how to. How do we say, maybe compensate and work on our challenges, just as everyone else. And I think that we are fortunate in Reykjavik, because when I talk to colleagues abroad, I usually get the question, when I explain about all of our projects and everything that we do, which is actually a lot, then they look at me and say, how do you get your politicians to want to do all of these projects, and how do you get them to do it? And my answer is always, it's not me that asks them to do all of this. It's the public that demands it in elections and upcoming elections, which we're having in 6 weeks. In case you didn't hear, our government's just exploded. So we have a lot of challenges, and we are fortunate in Reykjavik. We have politics that they strongly support our participatory budgeting and all of our participation projects, which are many. We have our digital portal, we have a democracy policy, we have residence councils, we have a citizens assembly, consultation portal. We work a lot on inclusion and we try to include minorities and strengthen their situation in the community. So there is a lot that we do, and we are very proud of it, but as I said, we are constantly developing our projects, figuring out what we could do better, because they are not perfect, as anything is, as nothing ever is. So I think our problems, our challenges are similar to yours, even though we are fortunate in many ways.
Thank you very much. I know that I was very impressed by the example of Iceland in 2008 or 9 when there was crisis of the subprimes. And I didn't hear any other country than Iceland making a referendum with all the population to know whether they were supposed to save the banks, or, you know, and the population was the one to decide on that. And that is quite impressive in a democratic system. We didn't see it somewhere else in the rest of the world. So I can understand that even for you, democracy is still not in its best, but as you say, it's perfect nowhere else. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. I would like now to go... I will switch to French. I don't know if you all have your material. Je voudrais passer la parole maintenant à Félix Bonne, chef de la démocratie participative de la ville de Dudelange au Luxembourg. Félix, dis-nous, comment est-ce que la démocratie est travaillée dans votre ville, mais également la question de la confiance, comment générer et assurer que cette confiance envers les politiciens, envers ce que l'institution de la municipalité réalise comme décision, reste résiliente et gardée en tant que confiance et non pas démunie de sa force par le populisme qu'on écoutait ce matin. À vous la parole.
Maintenant, je dois aussi mettre ma tête en français et pas en anglais, mais je vais parler en français parce que ça m'arrange un peu plus. Bon, d'abord, je veux dire aussi merci à toute l'équipe pour l'organisation de cette conférence. C'est la première fois que j'ai l'occasion d'être ici et je voulais dire aussi merci de m'avoir invité sur ce panel ici. Et voilà, de présenter un petit peu la ville de Dudelange. C'est la 4e ville au Luxembourg. Il faut savoir, Luxembourg a une population de 400 000 habitants et Dudelange, avec ses 20 000 habitants, voilà, est la 4e ville au Luxembourg. Il faut savoir aussi que les différences entre les villes, ils sont pas très grands dans le ranking de la place 4 à la place 2. La place 2, c'est 35 000 habitants et après on saute vers 100 000 habitants. C'est Luxembourg-Ville, donc on était très créatifs quand on a choisi notre nom de notre capitale parce que c'est le même nom que le pays. Voilà. Bon, Dudelange, participation citoyenne, ça existe déjà depuis une vingtaine d'années. Ça a commencé avec des consultations des citoyens. Donc tout ce qui était construction des nouveaux projets, mais aussi au plan national. Là, le Luxembourg, il travaille beaucoup des responsabilités communaux. On établir des packs communaux où voilà, on a une aide nationale pour voilà, la réaliser au niveau local. Et là, c'était le début du Climat Pact, donc le pacte du climat, donc le sujet voilà, de tout ce qui est environnemental était déjà le début. Et puis, Dudelange a tiré le bouchon encore un peu plus loin, notamment en établissant le budget participatif d'une part. Donc, c'est aujourd'hui notre projet phare. Bon, il y a une best practice dans plein de pays. Et d'autre part, on a les conseils des citoyens, on a le panel des citoyens, on a le conseil des jeunes, on a le conseil des enfants. On est en train de constituer encore un conseil consultatif pour seniors. Donc il y a plein de mesures en place, plein de processus en place. aujourd'hui. Pour te répondre peut-être à ta question, comment on peut ou comment ça fonctionne, d'abord, la participation citoyenne aujourd'hui encore à Dudelange. Bon, il faut savoir que les communes ou les villes au Luxembourg, il y a encore une certaine proximité entre les politiciens et les citoyens. C'est quelque chose qui est quand même intéressant parce que moi j'habite personnellement dans un village, je pense, de 300 habitants. Je travaille dans une grande ville par rapport au Luxembourg et ça ne change rien. Donc même mes échevins, ils ont la même proximité que mon bourgmestre dans mon petit village. Ils se connaissent. Il y a un échange. Je le vois souvent parce que mon échevin, il vient toujours avec des projets que les citoyens lui donnaient pour réaliser. Et je pense les instruments qu'on a en place, c'est une mesure qui nous donne, qui nous permet de rassembler toutes les idées et de les réaliser dans un cadre en règle. Voilà. Donc au niveau pour garder cette confiance qu'on a aujourd'hui encore. C'est d'une part de la communication. À mon avis, c'est une chose qui est la plus importante, notamment comme institution publique. Il faut communiquer avec les citoyens, il faut communiquer soit au niveau du bouche à l'oreille, mais aussi dans la stratégie de communication. C'est pour ça, je pense, que c'est très très pertinent d'avoir un service de communication comme établissement public ou administration publique, mais aussi quand on communique de nos processus qu'on a en place, c'est d'avoir une stratégie globale. C'est que quand on comprend, voilà, quand on a un BJ route, un conseil des citoyens, que le BJ, désolé, là je change au luxembourgeois, que le panel des citoyens, c'est un élargissement d'échantillons du BJ route. Donc c'est cette stratégie qui est globale et que ce ne sont pas des projets isolés. Et finalement aussi la communication, mais la communication aussi facile, parce qu'on a la tendance d'académiser les choses, de top-down. On travaille aussi avec l'Université de Luxembourg. Voilà, là, si on travaille sur un concept, c'est toujours très, très académique. Mais après, si je veux communiquer avec les citoyens, il faut le mettre accessible, soit au niveau de l'inclusion, parce qu'il y a aussi une population qui n'ont pas les moyens de déchiffrer des textes complexes. Je parle là maintenant des personnes en situation de handicap, etc. Donc il y a le langage inclusif aussi au niveau de tout ce qui est gender equality. Donc là, il y a plein de défis. Et si on communique déjà bien, c'est une chose. Et l'autre chose, c'est aussi la coordination interne dans l'administration, parce que là, c'est souvent quelque chose que si un petit groupe de travail, on parle d'un super concept, et puis ce n'est pas réalisable, parce qu'il n'y a pas de moyens au niveau de l'administration. Voilà, c'est un travail dans l'administration, mais aussi ensemble avec les citoyens. Et puis, je pense qu'on peut garder cette confiance. Voilà.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Felix. I believe that building this continuity between the citizens and the municipality through different mechanisms may keep this trust alive to build the right policies and to keep the belief of the institution in place. Thank you very much for sharing that experience. Gemma. Pues, Gemma, me encanta tener... primero tengo que presentarte. Gemma Bárbara Plana, directora de Vivienda y de la ciudad de Esplugas de Llobregat, en España. tenemos hoy en día, no solamente en España, sino en toda Europa, un desafío con la vivienda que es muy fuerte y que para las ciudades intermedias se conecta directamente a los servicios públicos y a los servicios básicos que las ciudades intermedias tienen que facilitar para su ciudadanía. ¿Cómo lo trabajáis desde Esplugas y cómo aseguráis que la cuestión de la vivienda no mate esa confianza en la gestión pública?
Buenas tardes. Yo también quiero y necesito agradecer a la organización el invitarme a formar parte de esta mesa y deciros que estoy encantada de estar aquí con estos compañeros y con el resto de personas, ¿no? Y compartir este espacio. Yo os explico. Esplugas, en primer lugar, es un municipio que está al lado de Barcelona, que tiene alrededor de 47.000 habitantes. Y yo os hablo, ¿no? desde la posición, ¿no? de técnica, de técnica, que estuve como muchos años como trabajadora social y después como coordinadora de la oficina de vivienda, ¿no? Es desde aquí, ¿no? Creo que es importante también pues, situarlo. Yo creo que en las ciudades intermedias la participación ciudadana y la defensa de los derechos fundamentales, como es el derecho a la vivienda y el derecho a ciudad, es esencial para reconstruir la confianza en las políticas públicas, ¿no? La participación activa ciudadana, ya sea de manera individual o sea de manera colectiva. Además, quiero destacar colectivos específicos que trabajan sobre el tema de la vivienda, como es la Plataforma de Afectados a la Hipoteca o el Sindicat de Llogaters. Creo que es imprescindible recoger todas las miradas para garantizar unas políticas públicas que reflejen las necesidades y expectativas de la ciudadanía. Me preguntabas, ¿no? ¿Cómo trabajamos en Esplugas? ¿No? Eso es uno de los grandes retos, ¿no? Todo el tema de vivienda.
Sí.
Nosotros, uno de los planes sectoriales es el Plan Local de Vivienda y contamos con una mesa de participación que nos está acompañando en todo el proceso de construcción del plan. Es una mesa que está formada por técnicos de diferentes ámbitos, por representantes políticos, por organizaciones locales que conocen muy bien el municipio, como son, bueno, os digo nombres, Cruz Roja, Cáritas, ¿no? que son locales, y también por movimientos sociales como la plataforma. ¿Por qué? Porque de esta manera conocemos de primera mano cuáles son las demandas, cuáles son las necesidades reales de vivienda en el municipio y ayudan también a construir un plan de acción. Quiero aprovechar también, porque creo que es importante, poner el valor, el trabajo que también han hecho estas organizaciones, promoviendo y propulsando leyes protectoras de la ley de vivienda, ¿no? Como es la 24/2015. O sea, más allá del acompañamiento, también han sido propulsores de estas leyes. En Esplugas, como en otros municipios, contamos con diferentes procesos participativos, ¿no? Con audiencia joven, con el Consejo de Menores, con el Fórum, con Decidim, que es un formato online de participación, encuesta ciudadana, presupuestos participativos, pero quiero poner énfasis en un proyecto que es la Alcaldesa en los Barrios, que tiene 11 años de recorrido y que es un formato donde el alcalde y el equipo de gobierno, de manera horizontal con la ciudadanía en un espacio, ¿no? Normalmente se trasladan a los barrios, recogen de primera mano las inquietudes y las demandas ciudadanas, ¿no? Con todos estos procesos participativos que os comentaba, calculamos que alrededor de unas 3.000 personas de forma directa al año participan. Y en todos estos foros, ¿no? que comentábamos de participación, el derecho a la vivienda digna es un tema recurrente, es un tema que lógicamente emerge, que preocupa, ¿no? a la ciudadanía. Porque aunque es un derecho, ¿no? protegido, ¿no? a nivel internacional, ¿no? a nivel estatal, ¿no? en España el famoso artículo 47 de la Constitución española, ¿no? a nivel autonómico, la realidad es que queda mucho camino por recorrer en temas de vivienda, ¿no? Hablamos de dificultades de acceso, de dificultades de mantenimiento de vivienda, del sobreesfuerzo que tenemos que hacer para poder pagar la vivienda. Yo os invito a hacer un pequeño ejercicio ahora de cuánto porcentaje de nuestros ingresos destinamos a pagar la vivienda y los suministros, ¿no? En teoría, tendríamos que destinar el 30%, ¿no? Pongámonos también nuestras, ¿no? Problemas también de accesibilidad y de privacidad. Y como decías, ¿no? Y como comentabas y nos lanzabas la pregunta, ¿no? Las instituciones municipales, que son las más cercanas a la ciudadanía, tienen que contribuir a hacer efectivo este derecho, a hacerlo real, a hacerlo palpable, ¿no? La participación ciudadana en sus diferentes formatos, ¿no? Que hemos ido viendo, ¿no? Desde que estamos aquí y que hemos ido compartiendo también con diferentes municipios, es fundamental para la concreción de las políticas públicas. Asegurarnos de que se atiendan de la manera más eficiente a las necesidades y a las demandas que nos hacen los ciudadanos y que se aplican unas propuestas adecuadas. Además, también creo que para renovar, sanear la confianza en nuestras instituciones es imprescindible esta participación y además también generar la cohesión social. Por tanto, la participación, o sea, más allá de ser un derecho fundamental, es una herramienta indispensable para que las ciudades intermedias puedan generar mejor sus recursos y garantizar que los derechos, como el acceso a la vivienda, sea una realidad cada vez más cercana para todas. Muchas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias. I think a strong line that appeared here throughout all our speakers, and I thank each one of you for sharing your experiences, is accessibility. Accessibility to rights, accessibility to participatory approaches, to participatory processes, but also social cohesion and how to ensure that this social cohesion is guaranteed through the diversity of intergenerational dialogue, but also talking about youth, and we heard it many times. Children, we heard as well in Dudelange. Intergenerational dialogue, but also ensuring this cohesion, although the different positions and diversity of opinions are there towards the policies that are generated. I would like to invite, we have heard, and with a big pleasure for my Secretary General, we have heard her talking in the opening speech. Emilia Said, please, I would like to invite you to join us. Tell us what would be your takeaways and how can we drive this conversation further, but also maybe open the floor to those that would like to share specific opinions between the public. The floor is yours,
Thank you very much, Firdaus, and allow me to slightly change the approach. The only thing I want to do is to connect the dots.
Please.
Because I think the discussion has been extremely rich, and I want to share with you all where would this be going, and why do we have an Intermediary Cities Forum? What do we want to achieve with that? You said it at the beginning, Firdaus, and I think Vice President Gunnarsson also mentioned the urban era is not an era of big megacities. The urban era is the transformation of our world in an increasingly city-led environment, but the intermediary cities are actually the ones that are making from Africa, for instance, an urbanized continent. And that is also the case in Latin America, but it's also the case still in Europe. So it is an era of intermediary cities, and this message has not reached the international community. I mean, they have finally discovered cities, so they care about us. They think we can do things. Actually, when they don't know what to do, they go to you. But they don't fully grasp or understand what they are. And when we talk about cities and in the international community, and international community is not only United Nations, but also OECD or G20 or G7 or the BRICS, when in all of those spaces, they understand cities as the mega cities. and the capital cities. And they attach solutions and problems to that environment. And if they attach solutions and problems to that type of ecosystem, then it means that the financial investment and the policy goes to those cities as well, to solve solutions around those cities. By the way, not enough. I mean, the Paris of the world and the Lagos of the world and Johannesburgs of the world and Delhis of the world are not happy with their financing either. But there is a very, very important part of the territories, of the communities, of reality that is not covered by investment and that is not being shaped by the needs of people, of the communities that you all care so much about. And so the reason why we have this Intermediary City Forum is to address that and to be able to give that voice, but not give that voice as in you get to know each other, not only, it's important, but not only, but it is as in shaping recommendations that can actually be taken into account. And then when we reach the 4th Finance for Development Conference that is taking place, hosted by the government of Spain in Seville next year, but very, very much a UN worldwide conference, that when we reach that conference, these issues are going to be reaching there. And we felt that it was important as well to make sure that the agenda of intermediary cities was not only one of food security, energy transition, or circular economy, which is extremely important, but that it would also be one of protecting democracy, because this is where democracy is built. And so that's how we conceived this session. That's how we have conceived the program of our forum. And I am very excited to see that it makes sense, that you are sharing this universal concern. I was very pleased to see Reykjavik saying, we have democracy, but if we want to keep it, we really need to protect it. It's not a given, you know. Rights are not something that you achieve and you can let go, and so is democracy as well. I was also very, very impressed by the comments from our guest from Luxembourg, saying we need to communicate. Communication is extremely important, but at the same time, you also need to continue building new mechanisms and those councils. And so it is about that actionable commitment that you need to keep, you know, you need to keep developing those instruments. And I want to invite the participants also to think whether we are going to talk about this tomorrow and the day after, but are there innovative mechanisms that we need to think about that would be very well suited for intermediary cities, for instance, that are not that easy somewhere else? And legislative theatre, one of the winners of the awards in previous editions, is one of those instruments. It's not that innovative anymore because there is a lot of experience in this, but I am wondering whether we can go from a reduced experience to enlarged, enhanced experience. And finally, I wanted to make a connection between what is happening in intermediary cities impacts the world, because in every single neighborhood of any intermediary city in the world, you will find realities of people that are connected with the rest of the world. It's important to realize that even if you feel you are in a space where there hasn't been a climate change hazard recently, or you think you are not in conflict, many of the people that live in those neighborhoods feel conflict because they have family living there, or they come from there, and they feel the climate change because they know that other reality. So for us, the connection between intermediary cities and that global reality is extremely important, and we feel it's there where we need to make changes. So I'm very grateful to be given the opportunity to focus more on intermediary cities in this conference of the International Observatory, because I do feel there is a very important connection, a very important narrative that we need to bring not only to the international community, but actually to the papers and to the media, to change the way that we are looking at the world. And it's not only in big cities that we are shaping future generations, and it starts here. So thank you very much for an inspiring session, and congratulations, Firdaus.
Thank you. I would like now to open the floor. Is there any comments that would like to come? Please.
Merci beaucoup. Je m'appelle Simon Moulamba. Je suis député national de la République démocratique du Congo. Je suis président d'un parti politique. Je voudrais, avant d'intervenir sur ce sujet, revenir sur l'exposé de cet avant-midi sur l'abolition de la peine de mort. Je prends l'exemple de notre pays, la RDC, où il y a eu le moratoire de la peine de mort. Et cela nous a mis en difficulté avec l'application des droits de l'homme. Il y a un phénomène de la criminalité dans de grandes villes qu'on appelle Kuluna, où les jeunes gens qui commettent des crimes à tel point, il y a une maman qui devrait aller accoucher. Il s'est réveillé avec son époux à 3 heures du matin pour aller à la maternité. Il a croisé en chemin un groupe de bandits, de criminels, de jeunes gens, et qui ont imposé à ce monsieur, à l'époux, de violer la maman qui était grosse à terre devant ses enfants. Et après cela, et même les jeunes gens, ils ont violé aussi cette maman, ils ont violé le monsieur, et à la fin, ils ont opéré avec des machettes blanches, tout en tuant la maman, le bébé et le monsieur. Un monsieur pareil, des criminels pareils, une fois arrêté, quel est le sort réservé à ce genre de bandits? C'est ainsi que notre pays est revenu sur le moratoire qui a été décidé pour la peine de mort, en exigeant que nous devons revenir sanctionner sévèrement ces criminels qui ont hérité ce genre de comportement dans les groupes armés où on violait les femmes, on violait les enfants, aux vies et aussi de tout le monde. Je ne sais pas la réaction de la population qui estime qu'il faut totalement abolir la peine de mort. Ça, c'était entre parenthèses. Mais je voudrais partager avec l'assistance le thème qui a été développé tout à l'heure concernant le développement des villes ou des provinces. Mon pays, c'est un grand pays qui doit avoir plus ou moins 80 millions d'habitants. Et notre capitale, Kinshasa, totalise à ce jour plus ou moins 10 millions d'habitants. Mais nous avons le problème sérieux des infrastructures. Nous avons dans notre constitution prévu la rétrocession ou le transfert en province. Nous avons les entités décentralisées et les entités déconcentrées. Les entités décentralisées, ce sont les villes, ce sont les provinces, ce sont les collectivités ou les secteurs, et les entités déconcentrées, ce sont les territoires qui dépendent directement du pouvoir central. Mais il se fait que toutes les recettes réalisées par les entités décentralisées doivent provenir, aller directement au pouvoir central et on rétrocède 40%. Mais le principe est la retenue à la source pour développer toutes ces entités. Malheureusement, tel n'est pas le cas, puisqu'il y a certaines provinces qui sont très riches, avec beaucoup de minéraux, et il y a aussi certaines provinces qui sont pauvres, à tel point que si on applique ce principe de retenue à la source, il y a d'autres provinces qui n'auront absolument rien. C'est ce qui fait qu'il y a la caisse de péréquation, où le pouvoir central centralise toutes les recettes et il rétrocède à toutes les provinces. Mais cette solution n'a pas donné, cette proposition n'a pas donné des solutions attendues par la population. Le gouvernement a imaginé une autre solution, le développement de 145 territoires. Donc c'est un projet où nous avons alloué à chaque territoire, puisque nous avons 145 territoires pour toute la République démocratique du Congo. Et nous avons alloué 10 millions à chaque territoire pour construire des routes, pour construire les centres de santé, pour construire les maisons des administrations, des polices, de la sécurité, ainsi de suite. Il s'est fait, malheureusement, que le projet très ambitieux a des difficultés aussi pour démarrer, puisqu'il faut aussi développer la personne qui doit piloter ce projet. La personne, c'est qui? Ce sont les gouverneurs de province. Et dans notre système, les gouverneurs de province sont élus par les députés provinciaux. Comme ils sont élus par les députés provinciaux, à tout moment, les gouverneurs de province ne peuvent pas faire une année pour exécuter le projet à la base. Souvent, ils font objet de motions par les députés provinciaux.
Nous allons avoir pour bien cadrer votre intervention, nous allons avoir une consultation spéciale pour l'Afrique également, dans laquelle nous serions heureux que vous puissiez partager cette expérience de manière étendue également. Donc si vous voulez bien nous laisser vos coordonnées, nous serons heureux de vous inviter à partager cette expérience avec toutes les autres expériences pour construire des mécanismes spécifiques qui puissent répondre aux besoins des pays de l'Afrique qui sont bien différentes. Et je comprends que vous êtes dans un processus de décentralisation qui rencontre ses propres défis. Mais je vous félicite en tous les cas d'être dans le processus de décentralisation qui est nécessaire à améliorer la démocratie et son système de financement.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Adrien.
Merci. Je me présente, je suis Amira Mizouna, je suis présidente de l'association Aide Patrimoine. Je voudrais partager avec vous une réflexion suite à votre intervention. J'essaie de faire le lien entre ce que Félix a présenté concernant le participatif dans la ville de Luxembourg. Il a parlé d'un budget participatif, du budget participatif dans les écoles, du budget participatif, en fait, d'une démocratie participative dans toute la ville. Et je fais le lien aussi avec ce que Emilia a présenté, c'est qu'il fallait protéger la démocratie participative dans la ville. Et là, on parle de la ville intermédiaire. Je pense, c'est en fait, si on fait le lien entre les deux, en fait, et vous avez aussi parlé de l'importance de la communication. Et si on fait le lien, on part sur un projet de participation, ou bien un projet de démocratie participative dans la ville intermédiaire, une plateforme qui rassemble tous les éléments, c'est-à-dire pour mettre en place la démocratie participative dans une ville intermédiaire. Et il fallait penser à un budget participatif, à travailler avec les écoles, avec les centres sociaux, avec les mairies, avec tous les partenaires de la ville, et faire participer en fait tous les partenaires de la ville. C'est-à-dire, on parle sur une approche participative qui implique tous les acteurs dans la ville, et on prépare une planification au niveau de la ville, et comme ça on peut protéger la démocratie participative dans la ville. Donc juste une petite réflexion que je partage avec vous. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Any other intervention or comments, please?
I just would like to present myself. I am Esper Sabrin, president of an organization called Heritage for Peace. We are working in conflict, trying to help countries in conflict to safeguard cultural heritage. But also, we have an initiative working with immigrants and refugees in order to help them for the integration, especially in the city of Barcelona. I have a reflection which connecting to this panel, and to show the power of civil society. We are facing domicide in many countries, which are cities, total cities in conflict are like damaged. We have the case of Gaza City. We are working all the last year in order to document the damage of the city. We worked as well to document many domicide. What is the domicide? Is the association to assassinate the city, the whole city. I am not just talking about the places. I am talking all the memories which are connected to the city. You know, so we were documenting as well Umdurman in Sudan. We were documenting as well cities in Yemen, cities in now we are standing documenting as well the damage in Beirut in the last 2 weeks. So what I want here to say, I think the cities and the people of the cities, they also could have the participatory as well with other cities who are suffering, to show the empowerment and the solidarity between the cities, because we have a failed international system. UN, all the UN agencies doesn't work. It's a very clear that we lost the trust in the international system. So from here, I think there is a power to show the civil society and places like here, they can give solidarity for places which are suffering a lot. And this is something which I think could happen. It's not impossible, could happen. Just as a reflection.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other, please?
Muito obrigado. Thank you. Eu sou Said Jamal, sou assessor para a área de boa governação e recursos humanos no município de Maputo, em Moçambique, e sou pesquisador do CEDEPA, Centro para a Democracia Participativa e Direitos Humanos em África, baseado em Moçambique. Pedi a palavra, é bom que seja o último, se calhar, não é? Dos que pediram aqui a palavra. Primeiro, para dizer que gosto do alinhamento que se fez de todas as apresentações que aqui... Não, desculpa, deste painel. E todas as posições foram exatamente de acordo com aquilo que é a proposta do tema, não é? Que fortalecer as cidades intermediárias ou intermédias europeias. Vejo também que as dificuldades que existem, se calhar, não podem também viver-se nos outros contextos, mas se calhar queria deixar aqui uma sugestão, não é? Em que isso não iria só para as cidades que aqui apresentaram, muito bem, não é? As suas experiências, e também os que estão do nosso lado a ouvir-nos. Tenho particular interesse, não só enquanto investigador na área de direitos humanos, sou formado em direitos humanos, e a questão das necessidades especiais, a questão da inclusão é fundamental. nós não temos como falar de cidades sem falarmos de inclusão. E falou-se aqui de várias coisas, não é? Queria sugerir aos municípios ou às cidades intermédias ou intermediárias que possam ser esse espaço de criação de inclusão. Vamos falar de um caso específico, por exemplo, necessidades de teor, vamos lá, sensorial, no que diz respeito à visão, ou no que diz respeito à fala. No caso de visão, como é que nós vamos envolver os nossos concidadãos ou municípios, não é? Que não podem falar como nós falamos? Os nossos mecanismos de participação estão adaptados para perceber a língua e a linguagem que estes nossos amigos concidadãos falam? Estamos nós em condições disto? Então, falou-se aqui da inclusão das senhoras, das raparigas, dos jovens em espaços de decisão. É um mecanismo, é uma estratégia para fortalecer a confiança, mas também abrir espaço para cidadãos e cidadãs que têm vários tipos de necessidades especiais para poderem fazer parte desses grupos de decisão, para serem a voz deles a ser ouvida, não só em formas de representação. Portanto, é só este reparo, e uma das sugestões, por exemplo, era termos, a nível das nossas cidades, especialistas que podem capacitar os nossos eleitos a poderem, no mínimo, perceber a linguagem dos outros. A linguagem não só, por exemplo, de línguas diferentes, não é? Mas também a linguagem para perceber como é que os outros corpos vivem, habitam esses espaços em que nós também habitamos e partilhamos. Portanto, era este conselho, era esta sugestão que queria dar aqui a todos e a todas, e muito, muito obrigado.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. I don't know if there is any other... Emilia?
Yeah. I just didn't want to leave unanswered one intervention which I thought was very, very relevant, and we need to give some background to. This issue of the failure of the multilateral system and the possibility to ensure that cities and civil society can play a different role in peace building. I think it's absolutely right, and we need to admit that our own movement comes from that very notion. The first meeting of our movement was in 1913, just before the First World War, and we come from that notion that together we could construct that culture of peace. But I think we also need to address the failures that we have. While it is very much on our DNA to keep tending those bridges, recent conflicts have also shown us that the polarization is also reaching our own movement. And so I do think it is very important to attach ourselves to the hope that we can make a difference, that an alternative multilateralism is possible if we are in it. And then civil society will need to make a stronger case for a stronger local and regional government. And we can talk the rest of the days, but I think it is important to rescue this from the conversation, because it is a task that we need to take into account. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Marcela?
Buenas tardes con todos y todas. Yo soy Marcela Andino, trabajo en un consorcio de gobiernos locales en Ecuador. Quizás solamente hacer una referencia que uno de los retos que tenemos en el Ecuador es que el tema de participación ciudadana está incluida en la Constitución. Tenemos una ley, tenemos estructuras que tienen que bajar desde lo nacional a lo local y de lo local a lo nacional. Pero luego de casi 10 años de implementación de una norma, hay también un cansancio ciudadano. Entonces, no solamente el tema de establecer mecanismos a través de la política local o de la política nacional es lo que va a garantizar la participación. sino que también requiere de procesos como el de las autoridades, porque también tenemos renovación de autoridades. Entonces, quizás hubo un compromiso inicial de autoridades de dar voz a los diversos espacios y de establecer mecanismos permanentes en el presupuesto, en la rendición de cuentas, en el seguimiento. Pero una vez que hay cambios en lo local, muchas veces la autoridad no vuelve a hacer ese mismo espacio, ¿no? O sea, requerimos también que las autoridades tengan procesos de educación, digo yo, de por qué es tan importante la participación, no solamente por dar voz, sino por dar seguridad a su propia gestión. Porque si los ciudadanos participan, conocen cuál es su plan de desarrollo, luego participan en el presupuesto anual y hacen seguimiento al proceso de presupuesto y evalúan la gestión, va a permitir que su gestión sea más eficiente. Entonces yo digo, también en estos espacios creo que lo importante es impulsar procesos de fortalecimiento, de intercambio, para que los espacios de participación no se pierdan en espacios como en la mañana conversábamos, en la inauguración, perdón, se conversaba, de que si los ciudadanos no sienten seguridad que en lo local tienen voz, no van a sentir que en lo nacional lo pueden hacer. Y creo que cada día a nivel de los países, y en el caso del Ecuador, sí requerimos hacer mayor esfuerzo porque a veces en lo nacional no tienes voz, pero sí tienes voz en lo local. Y si a su vez te sientes respaldado por la autoridad local, vas a poder hacer presión en lo nacional. Entonces, es eso el comentario nada más que quería hacerlo de esta necesidad de fortalecer lo local para lograr incidir en lo nacional.
De hecho, es muy relevante lo que acabas de decir, Marcela, porque las ciudades intermedias, dentro del marco de cómo las trabajamos en CGLU, no es que hablemos de una ciudad intermedia, sino que siempre hablamos de las ciudades intermedias, porque a nivel de territorio nacional, una ciudad intermedia no tiene mucha voz, pero si se unen las ciudades intermedias, ya es un poder diferente que ya se puede medir con el nivel nacional y a nivel global también, como lo explicó Emilia un poquito antes. De hecho, lo que acabas de decir me recuerda a lo que dijo Carola en su intervención, que la ciudadanía en las ciudades intermedias y la ciudadanía en general, pero especialmente en las ciudades intermedias, es el poder de actuar y el poder de cambiar. Y eso es una frase con la que me quedaré mucho. We have still some minutes left. I would like to give the opportunity of one sentence for each one of you, dear speakers. What would be your key recommendation for the role of the intermediary cities now, not only from your experience point of view, but also regarding the global and the national positioning from your experience regarding democracy and trust. One sentence, each one of you. Who would like to begin? Carola, would you like to begin, please?
In one sentence, then I would like to highlight once again what I was saying in my introduction, and that's the narrative. We must set a narrative about the intermediary cities as being very important part of the solutions for a sustainable world.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Indeed, we were saying in the last World Forum, in the second World Forum, we were saying that intermediary cities are the solution for a resilient planet. We are in. Thank you very much. Anna, please.
Yes, maybe I would like to emphasize that for all of us working on democracy and having the luxury of making an impact, it's important that we keep developing our processes and we stay true to them, and that people can trust that what they participate in actually means something. To keep on building trust.
Okay, thank you very much. Felix?
I'll try in English. I'll try now in English.
Okay.
My sentence would be learn from each other and exchange. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Mehmet.
Përfshirja e rinisë dhe gjitha kategorive të marginalizuara në vendimorje do të ishte shëndet për demokracinë.
Including the youth and all groups of marginalized groups. This includes a healthy democracy.
Thank you very much. Okay, Gemma.
Yo pondría el foco en que para reconstruir la confianza en las políticas públicas es necesaria la participación ciudadana y la defensa de los derechos fundamentales.
Con los servicios básicos. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much all. Thank you all for joining the conversation. I think we have a great material to think intermediary cities in Europe and to project them in the future in the World Forum. You are all welcome to the World Forum in Cuenca, Ecuador in January, and anything you need as information from our side, please don't hesitate to come to us. Thank you again to our speakers. Thank you.